Thya Sanders, CEO and founder of Unfiltered. Today, my guest is Elisabeth Jones-Hennessy, CEO and founder of GiftMeChic. I wanted to talk about the 3Ds: her destiny, her destination, e-commerce site, and also discovering and curating these products that she presents to her clients. And how does she find these gifts? And then also trying to share a little bit with us how to find the perfect gift for that perfect person.
Hi, my name is Elisabeth Jones-Hennessy. I am here on Thya Unfiltered. I'm very flattered and honored to be here and speaking with you. We're talking about my journey, a little bit of the personal side leading into the professional and how it's led to where I am now. And I look forward to getting started.
Learning about you, and studying about you and your history, I saw that you had said that, hey, I always wanted to be in retail or, have my own store or something. So tell us, you're in New York right now, but tell us, where are you originally from?
So I'm from New York as well. I grew up in the suburbs, Westchester County. I'm an only child. My parents were both, they both worked. And we're talking about, I grew up in the late 70s and the 80s. And, I'm an only child, like I said, and I had a very strong example of a working mother. And this was rare. I went to a private school. Most of the moms didn't work. And that was not my case. And, at that time you're growing up and I personally felt a little bit like embarrassed or, oh, my mom, but it wasn't that, my mom has just been a go-getter. And she's well educated, and it's something that was always very important to her to have a professional life besides being a mom and having her personal life. So high school rolls around and I said to my parents, okay, I need some extra money. I want to buy this and that. And they said, okay, get a job, right?
Right, get a job.
So here I am still feeling bad about myself because no one else has a job. And I look back at that time and I'm so grateful and so appreciative that this is the path that they made me follow, frankly, because I wanted extra change in my pockets, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to, my school was in the town of Rye. So I went down to the town and I found a really cute little accessory store called Spangles. And I got a part-time job working there after school. So that was really my foray into retail. Okay. And I loved it. I loved helping customers. I loved the product that they were selling. So I really made the best of it. And I earned, enough money to be able to buy my pair of jeans that everyone else was wearing, And by senior year, I had worked there long enough that the owner wanted to do my senior thesis on retail. And what does that look like? So the owner of the store took me with her on a buying trip, and we went to one of those accessory shows and picked out, lots of new products. And that's where I really fell in love, and I thought to myself, this is fun. I feel passionate about it. And I went home and I said to my dad, I want to be a buyer. And he said, well, that's a very unstable job. If you don't make your numbers, you get fired. Like, wah, wah.
Yeah. It's always has to be stability, right?
Yeah, this is like, these are parents that have 401ks and Social Security and all of those in the box things that frankly you need, right?
Right.
So I was like, okay, thanks for the encouragement. and then so it led me to college where I really did have an open mind in terms of my degree. I studied sociology and communications, still having this retail buying in the back of my head, but also my dad in the back of my head. Okay, what's the most secure job that I can find? And when I graduated, that passion was still there. So I said, okay, how do I get my foot into the door of the fashion industry? And I didn't have a lot of connections. So I went to a headhunter and I got a job as a receptionist at a big fashion house, so on the wholesale side, called GFT. And that fashion house was Italian, and they had brands like Valentino, Emmanuel Ungaro, Calvin Klein Men's.
Wow.
They had really big Italian brands under their umbrella. So I worked as the receptionist, then I got promoted to be the assistant to the assistant of the CEO. And then
getting coffee, let's see. Let's go back. Are you getting coffee? Are you schlepping? Are you
totally
I'm making
faxing? I'm getting coffee. I'm faxing. I'm running errands between the floors because every brand has its own floor in the building.
And of course, this is before the age of email, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. This was sort of at the beginning of email because I remember having a Hotmail account at that time, right?
Okay.
Really going back and before social media, it was more of an innocent time, let's call it, right?
Okay.
But for me,
so then you're out there, you're hustling. It's kind of like double wears Prada. You're out there schlepping. Okay.
Yeah. And I just wanted to work hard. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to get promoted, and I wanted to prove myself. And so from that next step, I then got promoted to Joseph Abboud, which was one of the divisions within the group. And it was in Joseph Abboud where I was a sales coordinator. So I'm working with the director of sales, showing the buyers the new collection. And that's where I said back to myself, you know what? I really want to be on the other side of the table. I really want to be a buyer. Mm-hmm. So I worked and proved myself there. And then finally I said to my boss, really want to be in retail. And this is where that company really conspired to help me because I had proven myself over those number of years. So they called Saks Fifth Avenue and they said, we have a great candidate. Would you consider interviewing her for your executive training program? Fast forward, I get in. And that really kicked off my career. And I went through the executive training program at Saks and I spent 6 years there, rising through the ranks. So I grew up in fashion, but when it became time to become a buyer, there's only a few entry-level buying jobs. So the first one that came up when I was ready to be promoted was in beauty. So I said to myself, okay, I never really thought about beauty. Of course, I always loved makeup and skincare and had my routine. So I thought, okay, this will be different, a new business to learn about. And that's how I got into beauty. And it was a really fun job. I had the niche perfumes. I had accessories like candles and diffusers. And it was creative. It was fun. And I really enjoyed it. And that led me to then go into Bergdorf's to be a beauty buyer. And I had half the floor. So I had big brands like Chanel, Bobbi Brown, Trish McEvoy. At the time, Shuamura was in the US, which was an amazing brand, Kiehl's. And then I have all the fragrances, both for women and men. So again, I'm on the beauty floor and it's fun. You're learning about skin. I felt like an expert at that point. I knew which molecules were good for which portions of your skin and what the new colors were of the season. And constantly getting my makeup done because, there's makeup artists on the floor and you're like, I need a touch up, So I realized how fun beauty is and how fun beauty can be and the exploration of that. And then one of the brands I launched exclusively at Bergdorf's was a perfume brand called Kilian perfume. And it was very exciting. I was fighting against Barney's to bring it to the US and launch it exclusively. And that's what we did. And business took off. And Kilian perfume was really still new in this category of niche perfume and niche perfume collections. So there were 6 scents. At that point, the only other brands that existed within this world, luxury perfume world, was Frederic Malle, Tom Ford Private Blend, and Le Labo. So it was really new. It was very luxury coming out of Paris. Business took off. Mm-hmm. So it was exciting. Every day we're watching the numbers. Thya and Elisabeth was the founder. He was based in Paris. And then a year later, when the brand, he wanted to grow the brand in the US because he was managing Europe, the Middle East, and Russia. And he said to me, Elisabeth, I really want to expand my brand in the US. I know that Bergdorf's has the exclusivity. Should I go to Neiman's or Saks? So Bergdorf's is part of the Neiman's group. So I said, well, you have to go to Neiman's, right? Because I had to promote my own company. At the same time, Saks Fifth Avenue came along and they loved the brand and he had to make a choice. And he said, what do you think of Saks? And I said, well, that's my old team and they're great. So there's not a lot I can say. Yeah. And he decided to go with Saks. And what he said to me was, there's no one that I trust more than you in the US. I'm based in Paris. Would you consider leaving your job at Bergdorf's, opening my US subsidiary and becoming my CEO for North America? So, I always use this analogy because, in life, there's trains that pass and either you choose to get on the train or you don't. Right. Yep. This was a big moment in my life. I was going through some personal changes and I'm like, okay, you know what? They say there's 7 big moments in life, right? Birth, death, moving, changing jobs. I think I had 3 of them all at once. Oh, but that's it. But I said to myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just jump into this dark pool and
do it, the unknown.
Yeah, just into the unknown, and I'm going to swim my way through and see where this leads me. But I had faith. I really believed in it. I saw the potential, and I trusted my gut, which isn't always easy to do.
Right.
So that's when.
And did you hear your dad in the background, like, okay, stability?
Oh, not even the background. He was in the forefront. Like, are you sure this is a good idea? What
You're leaving your 401k. You've been in this job. There's stability. You know, you've been here for years, and now you're going to do this and like a startup. What?
Yeah. I mean, and of course that puts, fear. And I said, okay, Dad, just trust me, just trust me. Look, here I am in my life. I've done good. I've done well so far. Yeah. So there's nothing, you can't rule my life anymore. Right?
I'm a big girl.
Yeah, I'm a big girl.
I'm putting my big girl pants on and I'm going to do this.
Yep. So that's what I did. And it was really a wonderful journey. I spent it was almost 8 years building the brand. We launched all of the Saks Fifth Avenue doors outside of New York to get started because Bergdorf's had the exclusivity in New York. Finally, it came time for Saks New York to open. Plus, we had all of the small perfumeries and apothecaries and concept stores around the country, stores like Lucky Scent in LA or Fred Siegel and etc. And then there were some Saks stores down in Mexico. There was Holt Renfrew in Canada. So it was
really traveling, making sure that the placement is right and what's happening, and your fingers on the pulse of like the numbers, everything.
And then building the team. It started as me, myself, and I in my apartment. And, I'm fielding calls early in the morning with Europe. I'm fielding calls at the very end of the day with the West Coast, and some days I wouldn't leave my apartment. I'd still see the chain on the door. And I'm like, this is not a good sign, right? I
have it left
at the minimum. And am I still in my pajamas? There's a chance, right?
Right.
So, that kind of started. Okay, at first I need an office, then I need an assistant. And that's how the ball starts rolling. And as we start opening up stores all over the country, we had to hire regional directors to manage territories. Because I also had a young child at home. I had shared custody. So it was a lot of travel on my off weeks and then a lot, on my plate when I'm in New York. And that's how, again, it's building up the team. The way it works on the beauty floors and the department stores is that every sales associate is actually owned by the brand. So those employees are not Bergdorf's employees. They're actually Chanel employees, Bobbi Brown employees, Kilian. So every counter, you have to hire your employees to manage your counter. So that's one piece of it. And then the other piece of it is negotiating with your buyer, the location on the floor. Because
wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Space and location is really important. Where the aisles, which way does the traffic flow? What's your visibility as a counter for all of those different points? So there's a lot. And then there's all the marketing, it's a whole thing. It was a lot of work. But it was exciting.
Learning as you went, or you were using some of the knowledge that you had being a buyer, on the other side? Or was this like, okay, I'm being thrown into this situation. All right, I've got to learn how to negotiate this. I've got to hire this team. We've got to do training. We've got to do the marketing, all of this stuff. Was this all new for you?
Not really. It was new being on the wholesale side of it, but one of the benefits of hiring someone from retail into wholesale is they know all the tricks and the games, right? So, the retailers are saying to me, well, it's going to cost you X amount of money for a page in our catalog. And I'm like, no. I know the real cost, So it really worked in Kilian's favor.
Right.
But yes, the part that was new was hiring the staff and working with the products, and then the coordination of figuring out how many products are needed to ship from France to then fulfill what the stores are ordering. So there's that piece of it is like the supply chain, which is new.
Okay. And everybody's hearing about now.
Right. Yeah. And the difficulties in managing the stock levels, but I did do that as a retailer. So a lot of it transferred over. It was really just me applying it to then the wholesale portion.
Okay.
It was the things I learned that were new were exciting and they were challenging, and all of it were great learning experiences along the way. So then in 2016, the brand was actually bought by Estee Lauder. So, and I will tell you on the personal side, through the course of this, of this relationship and working, Kilian also became my husband.
Oh, are you serious?
I'm serious. So there's a real
love in the workplace. Okay.
Love in the work. You know, it was one of those things that evolved. We were working very closely together. We had both been through separations and or divorces, and it developed and it evolved. And to the point that we were officially in a relationship, we ended up getting married. So we were enjoying the success together. You know, our lives were very complicated because we both had kids in each country. So we were, you know, we would do our schedule for travel 6 months in advance, because first we'd look at the school calendar and, okay, when are all the school breaks? And none of our breaks met. So it became a puzzle. And what we would do is we'd do it on an airplane because we knew we were trapped, right? Not one or the other of us could get so frustrated and run away. You know, the farthest you can go to the bathroom.
That's great.
So, you know,
actually, I'm gonna learn that trick when I talk to my husband, because we're flying to Arizona. I mean, it's a short flight, but that'll be the time that you can't run away. We've got to figure this out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for better or for worse, right?
Oh, that's smart. Okay.
I mean, the other good thing is on a plane, you know, you don't want to get, you know, aggravated, you know, because you're in a public space, a tightly, you know.
That's a good tip. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. So we had to coordinate a lot, you know, between the kids and the business needs and the exes and how did that all play out. But it was fun and it was also exhausting. But we did a lot of wonderful things because we ended up launching the brand in multiple places around the world. So that was really, and that's, I would say, from a retailer to a wholesaler, that's really, for me, I love to travel. I'm a Sagittarius. So, you know, it really, that was a very exciting part. You know, we went to Bangkok to launch the brand there. We went to Moscow on a number of occasions. So it was really exciting to discover new cultures and to see how much they were excited about the brand and loved the brand. So we were a really good team for many, many years. And then the brand got bought by Lauder. And this was a moment for me to step out and say, okay, what do I really want to do? You know, I loved my husband at that time. I loved what we were, I'm going through divorce number 2, hence.
You know, these little cues at the time, you know.
I don't mean it like that. I mean, he's a wonderful person.
Right.
You know, it didn't work out, unfortunately, but it was a 14-year chapter and a very, very important one in my life.
It sounds like it was a successful one.
And a successful one, definitely.
Yes.
But at that time, you know, Lauder said to me, okay, Elisabeth, what job do you want? And I said, I saw the writing, you know, I'm not going to be the wife that's in between, right. You know, but, and I had to recognize within myself, I really did miss retail. I missed the sense of discovery. Every time we would travel to these places, the first thing I wanted to do was to go to the little stores and find out what were the authentic products and brands of that city or country. And of course, you know, discover the local food and meet some people and get the flavor of wherever we were.
Right. And not live as a tourist, but live as a local, right? To find those hidden treasures. Right.
Exactly. Finding the treasures. And I would always keep a list, or I'd buy things and bring them back. And I would say to myself, oh, it would be so wonderful to bring this to the public, you know, bring it to people in a retail concept. But I wasn't there yet. And because the travel was so logistically complicated, going back and forth between Paris and New York, I was a bit at a loss. Okay, I've never been an entrepreneur, so the idea of that was very scary. The finances felt overwhelming, you know, so I really did need to take some time to digest and think about, how do I do this? What's going to make me happy? Where are my passions? And slowly but surely, and I said to myself, okay, brick and mortar is really hard these days. It has to be online. But that was completely new territory for me.
And that must have been pre-COVID, right? You realized this.
Oh yeah, this is back in 2018.
Yeah.
So maybe not 2019. And then I started thinking about, okay, what am I missing when I am shopping? You know, I love fashion, I love accessories, but I'm not going to compete with Net-a-Porter, let's face it, right? And it sort of clicked that the one thing that's frustrating for me is when I'm going shopping for a gift. Because I'll go to one of the department stores and look at all their things online, but I'm scrolling through thousands of products.
Yeah, it's really so overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So maybe you have an idea. Oh, she wants a Burberry sweater. I mean, I'm just making that up. But if you don't and you need inspiration, where do you go to find that? And so then I would go, to some of the little mom and pop stores here in my neighborhood. And I realized there wasn't one destination that was solely dedicated to gift giving. And there are, but they're really very mass. So what I was looking for or was lacking was something that was more curated, more elevated, not necessarily expensive. The prices range, but no matter what, you're going to find something that's cute. It has a great aesthetic. The quality is there and you're proud to give it as a gift. So this is where it clicked for me. And then the name came, GiftMeChic. I was in an airport lounge and it just sort of got downloaded, And then I quickly
came from, that inspiration. It just like hits you, right? And then it just
hit
feels
me.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, GiftMeChic. And then I quickly went on Instagram and the handle was available. So I quickly got the handle.
Snagged it.
Yep.
And then I went to get your website.
Yeah. I went to Network Solutions. The URL was there, bought it, so it's kind of like, okay, this is the seed.
You're like, now I'm in.
I got something. My little seed is there. Right. And so in 2019 is when I really put it together in my mind and on paper of what I wanted it to be. And I did sort of a very rough, soft launch where I came up with the logo and I built a very simple site on Shopify and I kicked out, I didn't want to miss the holidays for 2019. So I onboarded 10 brands and there were brands, some you would know and some you wouldn't know. So the customer could say, go onto the site and feel comfortable because they're going to know Asseline books or Fleur de Mal, lingerie, pajamas, and then some things coming from Europe that they won't know, but then there's that real sense of discovery. And it was soft, but it resonated really well. I was passionate about it. The brands that I brought on board were very encouraging and positive about it and wanted to be part of it with me. And so that was really exciting, but then COVID hit. So now we're talking early 2020. Okay. And I'm like, wow, talk about a bad time to launch a business, But
at least it's not brick and mortar, right?
True. Good point. Yep. So this is when I took a step back and I said, okay, this is your moment to build it into really what you see it can be, what you want it to be. So I worked with a branding agency. I worked with a web developer. We built out a whole new site. And I really took that moment to put it together. I onboarded 40 brands on top of the 10 I came up with. And this was really kind of fun experiences that were being offered as gifts. So, during Zoom, you can't, you want to connect with other people. During COVID and over Zoom was how we were doing it. But what if there's a way to do it? Okay, I'm giving you a gift and it's going to be an experience that is something really fun and memorable and meaningful to you.
Right.
So we brought a tarot reader on the site. We brought
that's cool.
Yeah, an astrology reader. The astrology reader has been my personal astrology reader for 10 years. So these are people that I bring on that are vetted by me. It's 100% authentic. I don't add anything to the site that I don't personally know and love. Another example is I have one of my best friends and a jewelry designer, Paige Novick. She's a crystal healer. So we created this bespoke crystal prescription that people really were attracted to.
That is cool.
Yeah. So it was really, so all of these different pieces came together.
I love the idea of experiences because, as people get older, it's even like with my husband, it's like, if he wants something, he'll go out and get it. Right. If you need something. And it's like, what can I do? What can I get him? And then I thought experience, right? It's like something that it's like, okay, maybe this is something that he'd always wanted to do, whatever it is, or something that he never even thought of. And it's really unique and it's giving you, it's still a gift, but it's not tangible, but he can always have the memory of it or, it's an experience. I love that.
Yeah, it really, and these are the things that really stick with you. Just a little bit of a quick sidebar, and this is not on GiftMeChic, but it's the same example of, a few years ago, I gave my dad for his birthday 23andMe. Okay. And it's changed our lives. It has drastically changed my family.
Really?
Yes. So my dad is half Black, half German. He was raised as a Catholic in Harlem. And for his life. That's what he knew. He also told us there was a family rumor, I guess it was, as we know now, that we were part Cherokee Native American.
Okay.
So he gets back to 23andMe. There's 0 Native American. He, of course, is half Black, which he knew. He's half German, but it says he's 50% Ashkenazi Jew. And
really?
So his mind blows. His siblings' minds blow. My grandparents, they've all passed. And it's created a huge deep dive into my grandmother's story, because she basically came to New York by herself at the age of 19, just as the war was breaking out, from Berlin. And the minute she stepped off the boat, she hid her Judaism. My dad never knew.
Really? This is so crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, like, listening to your story, there's so many things that resonate with me, like we have in common, not only the era of,
Right.
I just saw on TikTok, this girl had said, hey, here's a life hack. And it was pegging her pants. And someone said, that's a life hack that you guys are learning now. Do you know how long we've been doing this?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Cavaricis. Hello.
Okay. What are you talking about? For runs sweaters? No. So not only that, but then also, going to a private school, and my parents were working, and it's like a very affluent private school, and then me having to get a job to get what I wanted, then going to school, and in my case, going to law school, and my mom saying, like, listen, you need stability, right? But then it was like, okay, but being an immigrant herself, it was like, all right, well, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can be an entrepreneur. At least you have your schooling, to back up. But my dad is African-American. And then also he felt like he was, Native American. And then here it comes. It's like, oh yeah, from your mother my grandmother is half Black and half Native American. And then his uncle is half Native American, half white. So he had all of these family members that were white. And he just thought that he was like, uncle was just like a very light-skinned Black person. Right. But here comes he doesn't have an ounce of Black in him, but he's half Native American, Blackfoot, and white. And so when my dad goes to, it totally changed our family, like the family reunions and everything. When we go to a family reunion, there's a whole side that's all, they're Caucasian. Right. And you're like, wait, what? And he discovered this when he was in his 50s. So yes. Yeah. I do, so it's really funny, like this, segments of your story. It's like, wow, it kind of sounds like you're right. It totally changes the family and what you thought your family was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I love hearing that about you. Thank you for sharing. So this is, so basically over the past few years, my dad he's retired, he's 76, and this has become his purpose and his next mission. And he's diving into our roots, and he's found some quite difficult things, from the German side. And it's caused me to dive into my roots. And it's just been, I call that the boomerang gift, because it was the gift I gave him that came back to me and has now, really enriched our whole family.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thank you. And so it's like, as I think about gifting, there's so many different ways to gift. And I think the experiences part is really important. I really love it. And I'm expanding this category a lot on GiftMeChic because there's so much more to do. There really is. Yeah. So then in 2020, so basically at the end of 2020, I did a hard launch for GiftMeChic. So I felt that the site was really at the place it needed to be. I had a great assortment of brands, and that's how it kicked off. And so now here we are in October of 2021. It's crazy how fast the time is.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. And this is my passion. I'm looking around at my desk because I have a zillion papers here, but this is really my passion. I'm constantly on the search for new brands. Twice a year, there's a trade show. I hate to call it that, but there's a show in Paris called Maison and Objet. So it's house and object. And this is the highlight of my year, to go to this show twice a year. It's huge. It takes 2 to 3 days to get through the whole thing. And it's brands from all over the world that are showing their products and for the buyers. And so I just did that in September. It was the first one after COVID. So it was really exciting to be back. So for me, it really is about discovery and finding things that not only do I love, but that will resonate with my customers and what are they looking for, and who is my target customer, and hammering all that out. That's where I'm at now. I'm also at the point of looking for outside support. I mean, to be totally transparent, I have a lot on my plate and I can't do it alone. It's what I've realized. I work with a wonderful woman, Mara. She's my work wife, but we're juggling a lot of balls. Sometimes I'm at FedEx because I got an order yesterday, and sometimes I'm running my financials with my accountant. So my head is like that, and then I'm managing 40 brands. So I'm definitely, I'm fundraising, I'm looking for partnerships. So now that is a big undertaking as well. I've been self-funding, so I have a limit of how far I can
exactly.
go.
I'm the same over here, right? It's, and then of course, like when COVID hit, it's like, wait, okay. And here's a way, and I think you take a look at like, what's the positive? The positive is that this is going to give me an opportunity to step back and really kind of like fine tune. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I'm trying to present to my customers, right? Instead of like, wow, what am I going to do now? Where did they go? Right. But at least like they say, you keep it moving forward.
Right. What's the growth potential, and how do I get there, and what do I need to get there? And so, yes, it's like the people mover at the airport, just keep moving forward. And I try not to, some days you're like, I'm not as far as I should be, and then I think, but you're on your way, and just have faith. I have a lot of faith. I trust the universe, and I forge ahead, each day.
Right. And I think it's like, for me, I look at other businesses and like, wow, look at what they're doing. And then it comes out like, well, shit, they've been around since like 2012, and I just launched like literally like, I don't know, like 4 months ago. I mean, and they say that you've got to like crawl before you can walk or even run, right? Yeah. I'm still in my diapers right now.
Yeah,
okay?
Right. Baby steps. That's all it is.
Actually, baby steps. And then taking those, those accomplishments and like really celebrating them. Right. As an entrepreneur, I think that's what's really important as an entrepreneur, is not to look and compare, but to take those achievements and really celebrating them, to say like, hey, number one, congratulations, because you are building something from scratch, right? Literally from scratch. If you're sitting in the airport and that's how you thought of the name, and let me go on my phone and like snag the name, snag the website. I'm on the running, right? Right. And they talk about people who maybe they have that entrepreneurship in them, but they're afraid to take that step, right? Yeah. And then they live with the regret of, what? I should have done that. I thought of that idea. I thought of that. So jumping off of that diving board into like the deep blue sea, not really knowing if it's shallow or deep. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you also, they're acts of courage. They
are. And it's great to have a village of women who are in the same boat, right? It's nice to see. There's a lot of women who are in corporate positions, but then women who choose to leave that corporate position and start their own project of passion. Yeah. I love it when you're like, hey, this was something that I was really passionate about. I think that we have a cushion, so we have the ability to self-fund, at this point. But then of course there's like, I need to have, some funding, but I think we realize we have to get it to a certain level where it's attractive for an investor. And so, but we keep on going, and it's really nice to talk to another entrepreneur that like, hey, this is something that I want to grow exponentially. And I started from here, but I know where I want to go. And I know that I need help, not just internally, but in the sense of financial, but it's nice to like talk about it. Right.
Yeah. Right. To voice it and talk to as many people as possible. It's so wonderful to meet you. And, I've really just been putting the word on the street, and I love the support system I have around me. I'm so grateful for my friends and my former colleagues and my family. And, because one person says, you should meet that person, and that person says, you should meet this person. And then it's like the spark that keeps lighting different matches along the way. And
yes, exactly. And it's always so nice to meet another woman who is supportive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because there are, on the other side, when you meet a woman and for some reason, I don't know what it is, but it's like, okay, I'm just not going to mess with you. Okay, I'm going to keep it moving this way, right?
Yeah.
But for every one person I meet who maybe can be negative or not very supportive, there's about 10 other women who are super supportive. So 100%. It's like, you keep on going, keep going with your dream. And I love it. And so you've created this beautiful website. I've seen it. Beautiful, beautiful products. And I love it. So let's go behind the scenes.
Okay.
How much hair did you pull out to build the website and the branding?
I noticed I am getting a bit thin in the back. No, it was a lot. I think the hardest pill to swallow was the investment behind it. I'm like, that costs what? You know what I mean? Really? But again, it's like just swallowing the pill and jumping off the cliff and saying, okay, I like the vision. this is what makes sense. And I've done enough homework to be smart about the choices that I'm making, not just jump into, signing a contract with, without doing some research. So yes, it's definitely been stressful, but it's been, but again, it's a passion project and I have faith. I really trust the universe. And, so as many hairs as fell out, I've glued them back in.
You're like, I've got some tufts growing back. I think they're coming back in.
It's true. Everyone's like, did you just have a baby? I'm like, first of all, I'm too old for that. Number two, no, this is called stress.
Right. This is called regrowth. Okay. That's what it's called.
Exactly.
So, I love it. I wanted to ask you, okay, so you had like a branding, and you had a branding agency, you did your website and everything. You brought on, you have this skill set, right? From being a buyer, being in that corporate world, seeing, the retail setting and everything, and having that power behind you. Now you're an entrepreneur, you're starting your own thing. What surprised you the most?
I think maybe not just not realizing the workload that it would be as running the team, running myself and the team that I work with, Mara, and we have an intern. We all juggle a lot of balls, and you go into something and it's going to be a lot of work, but you don't really know what that entails and all of the different buckets that falls into. So I think that's where sometimes it's, I'll get overwhelmed. Again, I'm looking at my desk because I have organized chaos happening around me, right? But it's organized. I know exactly what's in every pile. I have my to-do list. I'm very old-fashioned. I write everything down.
Yes.
And so I think that's been the trick through it all, is to not let it overwhelm me. Just prioritize the tasks for the day or the week and just be organized, know, okay, what I need to tackle and when. Okay. So that was a bit of a roundabout answer, but
I get it. So people if they think about a traditional 9-to-5 job and what the day in the life is, like you get up, you take your coffee, and then you hop on a train, you go to the office, you do your work, and you come back. What is a typical day in the life of you having an e-commerce site? What's going on in the background?
Yeah, it's really nonstop, but because of COVID, because now I'm working from home, it's really important for me to also have a bit of a balance just when it comes to my mental health and physical health. So, sometimes I wake up and I just immediately go exercise, or at the end of the day, I'll go out and exercise and I put it on my calendar. Okay, 5:00 is when you're going, or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the day, I'm at my desk, I'm on Zoom calls. I'll get up, go to the kitchen to make lunch. Occasionally I'll go out for a lunch, but very rarely. And then, depending upon what my evening plans look like. So I have a child who I'm with every other week. So on some weeks it's making dinner, getting that whole routine done. And then at 8:00, I'm back at my desk, and I'm like, okay, what did I miss? Or what do I need to catch up on in the few hours that, I went for my run and I made dinner and I made sure everything is okay at home, and then there's other days where I'm going out to dinner and it's okay. I say, okay, breathe, you can tackle the next other stuff tomorrow. Because it's a website, I'm always kind of Googling, seeing what's coming up. If there's any questions or issues, I'm sharing them with the team. Why is this doing that? Checking the site. And there's always something, a price is wrong here, or excuse me, my phone is ringing back there.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's nonstop. It is.
It's like, it's kind of like 24/7. And another question is, because I have an app and it's, you're in that tech space, right? You have an e-commerce site and people tend to think that it's 24/7, but it's like, there's a human being behind this, right?
Right.
And you have to, like you said, balance. You have to have balance for your mental health, for your physical health, right? Otherwise you're going to just like be drained, and then you're going to be out for the count for a while. And then it's totally going to be chaos.
Right.
So now that people know that, oh yeah, there's a person behind this, what's your reach? I mean, do you have clients that are in another time zone across the globe, right? And they're writing emails. What does that look like? I mean, how far is your reach?
Well, right now the site is national. So I'll ship, throughout the US. So that makes things a bit easier. But my brands a lot of them are in Europe. So that's the only thing where, emails and discussions get delayed because, for example, right now I'm trying to get 2 Sloan notebooks from Amsterdam because I have a customer that, is looking for them. So I'm emailing her yesterday. I'm getting a reply today. I'm so sorry.
You know what it is? Because this is life. This is the day in the life of you. Like my phone has been going off, and it's like, I'm getting emails, I'm getting text messages, Instagram's going off, and then like FaceTime calls. It's like, listen.
I tried to mute everything, but I can't mute the phone. So it's Europe. So that's the piece that gets delayed. But then for me, it's about managing customer expectations. So I emailed the customer and I said, just so you know, I have 3 out of the 2 notebooks. The other 2 are shipping from the Netherlands. And so they understand, okay, it might take a little bit of a delay to get, so it's just about handling it from all angles.
I want to move on to the gift guides.
Okay.
Because we're reaching pretty soon the holiday season. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one thing is like taking into consideration this problem of the supply chain, right? I'd like for you to tell us like when to set their expectation, if there's going to be a delay, or how early should a person start thinking about or, purchasing the gift for the holiday season for Christmas.
For a customer, I mean, realistically, brands and retailers start promoting it now as early as mid-November.
Okay.
It used to start on Black Friday,
right?
But that's no longer the case. So I think mid-November is when you start seeing it because you're getting the emails and the stores are decorated. But let's face it, everything always happens at the last minute, right?
Yes, exactly.
I will say, this is where for a customer, you do have to be somewhat organized because what is it you want to buy? If you want to come to GiftMeChic and buy some amazing Nomad Noe candles or Black Dahlia CBD, I mean, these are things that can ship very easily. If you want to design a bespoke handbag with Maison Ravin coming out of Paris, that's a 6-week process.
Oh.
So this is where the communication becomes really important. I have a customer who he DM'd me, and because we're on Instagram, and he's been a nice customer for a year now. And he said, my wife's birthday is November 27th. I really want to get her something special. What can you recommend? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting actually, because on my site next week, I'm getting ready to launch Elisabeth by appointment. So it does give customers the opportunity to work with me, to brainstorm.
Wow.
And
let's concierge service. Yeah.
Concierge, because timing is important. So I reached out to the brand and we came up with the timeline. He said, well, how do I go about this? What do I do? And I said, okay, first things first, go to your wife's closet, look at her handbags and see what is she missing? What is her daytime bag? What is her nighttime bag? What is her tote bag situation?
Okay.
And then maybe you make a list for me so I can think about it. What colors does she have? What materials does she have? What would you like to see on her? And so it started this thought process of him being a detective and secretly sifting through her stuff, and then coming back to me, and then me going to the brand, and then we all came together to collaborate. And it's been really fun. And now he's going down this road and he's helping design it with the brand, with the designer directly.
Wow.
And it'll be ready and it'll get to his wife by November 27th. It's going to have her name, engraved into the inside. And it's really very special. So that's why it does take foresight for a customer, and that's a big gift. So that's kind of the thing that you want to do for your closest significant other or whoever it is. And I do think people think that way because you say, okay, I want to get them something special, so let me now put thought into it. And then it's kind of all those other gifts that you can do fairly last minute. Now, I would suggest doing it no later than, by the first week of December, because the mail and the FedEx, everything gets so delayed. You don't want to be stressing,
Now, from your website, do you have inventory or that you actually send out? Or if someone is ordering, then you have to wait, you put that order to the vendor and we have to wait for the vendor to send it out?
It's a combination, but mostly drop ship, which is the latter of what you mentioned. So the vendors have the inventory. My system is connected to the vendor system behind the scenes.
Okay.
So when I get the order, it automatically goes to the vendor and then they ship it out.
Okay.
So, but for the products that I have from Europe, I mostly have them in my home warehouse. Right here, you're looking at the GiftMeChic fulfillment center.
It's a baby Amazon.
Right. Much more nicely packaged than Amazon.
Right.
But yeah, so this is where some things get shipped out, which is nice because I can really give it more of a personal touch. I'll write a little note and it goes in the GiftMeChic packaging. But it's a balance between the two.
And there are occasions other than, holidays, right? And birthdays where people can actually give gifts, right? So they have to kind of open their minds, like you said, like maybe a housewarming or maybe it's like an anniversary, maybe it's graduation, whatever it is. But there are other moments in life than just your birthday and holidays, and you have gifts for those. And I love the experience, like the tarot card reading. That doesn't have to be for a birthday. That could just be, for a gift for a friend who is interested or is, or whatever.
A tough time or
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a gift for any occasion. I love
exactly.
it.
I like to call it habitual gifting because there are peaks and valleys in the gifting business, but you have peaks and valleys in fashion, March and September when people are buying their seasonal clothes. But there is an everyday, every week, every month business in gifting because to your point, yes, there's always something to gift for. And what I like to do is I personally do it. And I like to tell my customers to do the same is just have a little closet or shelf in your home where you have a stock up of candles or, gifts that are under 50 or gifts that are under 100 and just to have a little stockpile because there's always a moment when you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot I'm going to such and so-and-so's house tonight or tomorrow, and I need to grab something. So you're not in a pinch.
What's the most boring gift you've ever received?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'd call it boring, but it was definitely battered and tattered. It was a regift for sure. And I was just surprised. I was taken aback that the person who gifted me thought it was acceptable to give me an obviously regifted gift. Especially knowing that I do gifting.
Okay. So do you believe in regifting?
I believe in regifting when the person won't know that they're being regifted, if I have a beautiful candle or whatever that's never been opened and it's in pristine condition and I know this person will like it, regifting is fine, but it's how you go about it.
What's the most exciting gift you've ever received?
I think for me, it's travel. Again, it's I love discovering new places. And when I graduated high school, when I graduated college, my graduation gift was a trip backpacking through Europe. Okay.
Let's see. What's the biggest no-no of gifting?
For me, it's just not putting any thought into it. It's like buying some random thing for your friend and not really caring if she's going to like it or not. And it's just like, you need to get it over with. So you just buy it. I really believe that gifting, it's about thoughtfulness. It's about kindness. It's about, you're giving without an expectation of receiving, but I really feel that there should be thought behind it. Think about who are you gifting? What is their lifestyle? What could they use in their life? And that's when it becomes really touching and the person truly appreciates it because they feel the thought you put into it.
If they just put it in a gift bag, how do you feel about that as far as presentation goes?
I think it can be okay. If the item is, there's no wrapping paper, let's say, but there's a beautiful bow and tissue and it doesn't bother me so much. It's not ideal, but I think if you're going to someone's home, for example, you don't want it to be overly formal, like here, I wrapped a gift and I put it, in that case, it's a little more casual. So I think it depends on the context.
And does a card always have to accompany the gift?
Something should accompany the gift. Tell the person that you're gifting who gave them the gift, right? Like you at least want to be recognized for giving the gift. You don't need, it's nice to get a thank you, but you may not, but at least, the person knows who gave them the gift.
And finally, if it's a housewarming party, should they just bring a plant? How do you feel about bringing a plant?
Plants are very personal, right? Like I have plants in my home, but I've specifically chosen the ones that won't kill my cat, and where's it going to fit in my home and what size is it going to be? It's a nice gesture. And if it's a small plant, then it's more versatile. But it wouldn't be my first choice. No.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I'd love to stay in touch,
I would love that. Thank you so much, Elisabeth, for joining us at Thya Unfiltered. For everyone, thank you so much. I loved this conversation with Elisabeth. Make sure to check out her website, which is www.giftmechic.com. You can find all of her information on our website, on our Instagram, and our YouTube when we post this video. Okay, now here comes the hard part. Remember, everyone, to subscribe and like and follow all of our social media platforms, which is Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And stay tuned. We'll be doing a giveaway within a few days. Thanks, guys.